Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I've got one of my interviews with executives of junior mining companies, and today I've got an announcement to make that we have a new sponsor, Athena Gold, and I'm really happy to bring these guys on because I've put a lot of focus lately on Nevada projects. We've got a very good audience built up for our Nevada stories. And these guys have recently put out on January 10th some excellent results. And I wanted to bring John on to talk about that. Thank you very much for joining me, John.
Yeah, great, Alan. Great to be with you. Thanks for your time.
So we started talking a few days ago, and what really stood out to me, I'm gonna share a screen here actually.
Yeah, fantastic.
And, here's the news release. So Athena Gold confirms and extends shallow high-grade oxide discovery with multiple intercepts, including 10 grams of gold over 10 meters. So you've got over that 100 gram meter threshold that Excelsior Springs project in Nevada. But it gets better than that because you had a few intervals there, 6 grams of gold, 17 grams of silver over 27 meters, starting at 39.5 meters. So you're right at surface.
Yes.
Included in that was 10 grams of gold and 30 grams of silver over 10 meters. Second deeper interval was 77 meters of 5 grams of gold, 14 grams silver over 13 meters. So the people can read it while we're talking, but really nice intersections there, John. God, must have your technical team pretty excited.
Yeah, we're really excited. And, we have an amazing technical team, guys that have been working in Nevada in the industry for 40, 50 years each. So they deserve the credit for helping Athena make this discovery, but we're very excited about it. We do think it's one of the better discoveries by a junior in Nevada in the last year, especially, for as shallow it is.
And oxidized.
And oxidized, yes. So
So
far,
easy recovery.
Yeah, all oxidized. So no, we're really excited. We think, quick backstory. So we picked up the project a couple years ago. I felt like this part of Nevada was a little bit underexplored and underloved, being Esmeralda County. It's part of the Walker Lane trend. So to the north and to the south of us, there's mines every place, obviously in the Walker Lane, very successful history in the Walker Lane. So, and we wanted a project. One of the things that I was excited about is there was quite a database that came with this project. There were 84 historic RC holes drilled on this project, and many of them had really good results. And so we looked at this and thought, well, there's a lot of smoke here, and we thought there was a great opportunity. So we put together, our technical team developed a plan. We did our first drill program in the spring of 2022, last year. And that's where we had what we call the discovery hole, DB23. And DB23 was, 33 meters at about 5 grams. And it's there in the center on that leapfrog image. And so that was like, 33 meters or 5 grams. Obviously, we were super excited with that. We just thought that was an amazing drill hole, way better. I talked about the 84 holes that had been on the project before. On a GT basis, it far exceeded any historic drilling on the property. So we obviously, we're super excited about that. And then but then, we needed to follow up and see what we could do to expand on that. So we did a small program in the fall of 2022, so basically October of last year. And we released those results on January 10th, just a few days ago. And you just walk through those results, and they were, and actually 2201, which is to the east there of DB23, actually between both intervals was actually better than DB23. So in a nutshell, we expanded the high grade zone, both east and west. We kept it tight. We want to just step out, on a small basis and, make sure we have the strike and dip dialed in before we go crazy.
Well, and it revealed some exciting stuff. So you've got this zone here of high grade.
Yes.
And then you got another zone down here of high grade, and you were still in mineralization at the end.
Yes, that hole did end in mineralization. So yeah, and that second zone was really impressive as well. And then, so yeah, we were very, very excited.
I don't blame you. And then on the other side, on 2202, you got another couple of nice intervals there, here and here.
Yes, yeah, and the lower zone there wasn't quite as strong as it was over on 2201, but it still is there, and so we definitely believe there's two zones at work here, and so together it creates quite an opportunity because it's a very large intercept when you kind of put all that together.
Yeah, and then you start thinking about, well, where did all this come from? And it's certainly suggesting that you've got a nice gold mineralizing system there.
Yeah, and we think there could be more than one. It's still early days. We have a very tiny market cap of just $10 million. So we're really at the ground floor level here of this discovery and this project. One of the things, I mentioned the historical work that had been done on the project. One of the things that had been done previously was an IP survey about 10 years ago. And that IP survey showed there it is right there. So you can see, let me just orient you on this map that you're displaying. The star in the center is DB23. We call that area now the Western Slope Zone. That's what one of the historic mines was called at that location. So we went with that name, Western Slope, for this discovery area that includes DB23, 2201, and 2202. And so and then you can see the perimeter line is our claim block. We own a couple patented claims in the middle, which is the smaller block. And then the IP survey is overlaid on that claim map or a land map. And you can see going to the south and southwest, there's this anomaly that's starting to jump off the chart there. And so we would like to do a deeper IP survey and obviously extend it much further south to get a better look at this IP anomaly. But in light of this recent discovery and some of the things we've been talking about, we think that IP anomaly, means more than maybe we originally thought, because it's possible that is, the heat source for the pump for what we're finding, near the surface in the Western Slope Zone.
Well, as I was doing my homework on you guys, there was something else that really stood off the page to me, not just this big anomaly here, but you can see two faults. One goes east to west here, and one goes north to south. And at that intersection is exactly where you're getting this big geophysical anomaly. And that's where those rocks will be well prepared for, a mineralizing event.
Yeah, you're absolutely right that the South Thrust Fault runs through there. And we, Dave Beeling and our technical team have theorized the same thing with those faults there. And so we think that is a prime target. Now, to be fair, when we got this high grade zone staring us in the face, we're going to focus on that in the immediate term. But we definitely have this amazing, geophysical target that's on the as well.
Well, it all could be related, because here you've got another fault you can't really see because it's obscured by the geophysics, but there's secondary faulting coming all through here and down here, and it's starting to go towards that where you hit it. And you've got an interesting thing up here, this blue area.
Yep.
So it could all be related.
Absolutely. No, we think it is. And, you know, there was one of the things in this new Western Slope zone, and we touched on it briefly, there are some trace base metals in the assays. And so that just gives us, you know, this theory more credence that there could be a sulfide deposit of depth. You know, obviously the mineralization we found so far, we believe it's been oxidized in place. So started out as a sulfide deposit. So, you know,
Well, and you know, you can only go on what the data tells you. And when you start looking at sniffs of copper, lead, and zinc, as well as silver and gold, and that you're looking at sulfides that are oxidized, it starts painting a pretty a similar picture to what you would see in a massive sulfide system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're, you know, we definitely see the upside here and the potential of this project. So no, we're, you know, have been very fortunate with our results to date. We just have to be, you know, we have an exciting opportunity in front of us, and we're going to try to carefully manage it, and spend our drilling dollars wisely to extend that high grade zone, the Western
Yeah,
Slope.
I don't blame you. And where it takes you, well, let the data take you where it takes you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't want to try to fit a round peg in a square hole.
No, you're right. You got to follow the gold.
Yeah. And going back to that slide earlier, you definitely have some gold to follow there.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, it's open, you know, at least 1,000 feet to the east and probably 500 feet to the west. You know, so it's definitely open essentially in every direction. We think it's striking primarily east-west. So far, it's been very flat, which has really surprised everybody. As time goes by, you know, we'll probably see more of a plunge to this, but literally between 2201 and, which is, you know, the hole we're looking at to the east, and 2202, which is the hole to the west, the top of the mineralization is literally like within a couple feet of each other. So it's so far it's looking very flat. And, you know, there's a slight dip or slight plunge, but it's looking pretty much east-west.
Huh. And I also was wondering what kind of rock is that coming into, because it could be some soft rock that, you know, a stratigraphic horizon that this came into.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. There's I'll call it like a limestone cap above it. Like when we get into this high grade zone, if I had the rock chip photos handy, I could show it to you, but you can see we go from this limestone zone, and then, you know, which is like a whitish rock, and then immediately we go into this high grade zone. And I think what you've described is exactly on target.
And so yeah, that's pretty darn exciting. Why did your geologist pick this place to drill?
That's a good question. That's a trade secret. No, they're actually in this 84 RC hole database that we inherited. There was a historic hole, a GE8, that was drilled about 10 years ago. And I don't have the assays in front of me, but GE8 had intercepted a small pocket of high grade. And so that's what attracted us to this area. So it was a bit of a, you know, to be fair, we did not expect it to be as good as it is. I mean, there was a reason we were drilling in this area based on this historical GE8 that had a high grade intercept, but it was deeper and it was maybe 20 feet. So it was a pretty, narrow, a much more narrow zone. And so we're still, we're still looking to, put that into our model to see how that may change the way we're looking at this. But that's why we drilled what became DB23, the discovery hole.
Well, John, that's the way a lot of discoveries are made. Bit of geological work, science, and a little bit of luck.
Yeah, yep. Exactly. You got to have luck, and then you have to know how to execute once luck comes your way.
Yeah, exactly. And now you've got something to sink your teeth into.
Absolutely. No, we're chomping at the bit to get back out there. And as soon as the snow melts a little bit, and in the spring here, we hope to be back out, following up on this in this western slope zone.
The reason that I asked that question is, going on the geophysics, it's not like anything stands out there. Yeah, there's some subtle geophysical anomalies here, but nothing that stands out like this. And this structural story, or even up here, there seems to be a structural story associated with this. So that's why I asked, why did they pick that area? It's not like it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, no, great question and great point. So yeah, no, and yeah, the geophysics, when you're looking, for oxides, maybe it's not much help, and that's why this anomaly and the potential of a sulfide target really looks intriguing to us.
Yeah, well, it's intriguing to me too. I like the sounds of that. Well, I mean, keep following it, and then you see where it leads you. But then you can figure out the heat engine. But to think that, you're probably still a long way from the heat engine, and to already be getting these kind of grades, your geologist got to be pretty darn happy.
Yeah. Our technical team is we're really excited, and they're just, everybody is just amazed, and we just can't wait to get back out there and get the rig back out there and drill some more holes and extend this high grade zone.
So in the meantime, are you planning some more geophysics to extend this grid?
Yeah, we are. We don't have anything contracted yet, but it's definitely on our use of proceeds to do that. It's something we've wanted to do for actually a couple years, but we just felt like we could advance the project much faster with some RC drilling, and that's what we've done to date. But we clearly need to, as this IP anomaly is looking more and more important, we do need to do the follow-up survey. This survey we're looking at, it was fairly shallow. So we want to do a deeper one and clearly extend, further there onto that structure that you've pointed out.
Yeah, well, actually, I see two important structures. There's this intersection of the north and south, and the intersection of the east and west. And if you look at the start of a geophysical anomaly, it certainly leads towards something going on this big structure that goes east to west. Yeah, as you can see here in the geophysics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I mentioned, the western slope zone seems to be running east-west. East-west is definitely a trend that is important to follow in this area.
Well, and another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get in there and do some of my Google Earth exploration homework. And I have a feeling that there's a parallel structure somewhere in here, but I can't see it through this geophysics.
Yeah,
not to worry, I'll get on it.
Yeah, next time we talk, we should look at that together, because every time we look at Google Earth, we find things and see things that get us more excited. I mean, there's the alteration, and this whole area just has really, nobody has worked on it for, a long time. So it's just, so we're jazzed about taking it forward.
there's definitely something really exciting going on with that, the structural story, the intersection of where the east and west and north and south meet, the geophysical anomaly that's going east to west. But then you've got some secondary faulting that goes north to south, and this could all be part of some big mineralizing system that made its way to sort of a wildcat hole, of, if you will. Certainly
Yeah.
didn't have geophysics to go off of.
I know. Yeah, it was literally that one historic hole that had a high grade intercept that we were chasing a little bit. And this area, the original mine here was called the Buster Mine, and it was a very high grade, over an ounce per ton, pretty small. Yeah, so you can see on the patented claim there, the patented claim there, Fortunatus. That's the Buster Mine where your cursor is right now. And so that was basically over an ounce of gold per ton. It was very, very small. So it was like this, what I'll call like a surface expression of high grade mineralization. And there's others like that in this area. And so there's definitely a history of high grade and history of high grade at the surface. Obviously, the old timers were a lot smarter than we like to give them credit for, and all the high grade gold that was sitting at the surface, they obviously mined and processed back in the day.
They knew, they were working hard. They knew what they were doing. They, there's an old saying in mining that you want to do old fashioned geology, you walk around and look down. And,
Yep.
Those guys had good eyes, and they had strong backs, and they worked hard, and they weren't working hard for fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, yeah, give them all the credit in the world.
You brought something up there that kind of is intriguing to me, because it reminds me of another company that I follow. You mentioned that you were going off of one hole, historical hole. And I want to tell you about a company that I follow called ATHA Gold. They've done very good. And what's happened to them was there was this Archimedes pit, okay? And
Yes.
there was a pit wall failure, and Barrick shut the mine down. So
Okay.
years pass, ATHA Gold gets their hands on it. And as they're compiling the data, they saw one or two or three holes that were deep in below the oxide pit,
Okay.
and so they drilled a hole down there. And that's the Ruby Deeps discovery on the west side of the pit. It had
Okay.
some intersections of 70, 80 meters of 5 to 10 grams of gold. It's called
Yeah.
Ruby Deeps. And,
Yes.
that's often, how these things are found, John. You go in and you do your homework, you compile all the data, and you look at it with a fresh set of eyes. And, that's how discoveries are made.
Yeah. I mean, I-80 has done an amazing job, and so
Yeah,
it's exciting to see what those guys have done, and I follow them and I root for them. So I mean, anybody, you want success in our industry, and the age-old adage, the best place to find the fire is where the smoke is, right? So
exactly. Well, and it just reminded me so much when you said about that one historical hole. And
yes.
that's basically what they did. They had one or two historical holes down in the Ruby Deeps. They put some holes down there, and now I think they've got a world-class discovery. I think the company actually has 3 world-class discoveries, but in the context of what we're talking about, the Ruby Deeps, it was following up on a few holes. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've read their press releases, and yeah, those intercepts were just amazing. Yeah.
Super thick
Yeah,
and high
super.
grade. That's open to underground bulk mining.
Yes, absolutely. So no,
Yeah,
that's
so good on you guys. I'm really glad you've taken me up on the opportunity to be a sponsor, because I like to get in early. I've been pretty successful over the years at looking at things early and watching their evolution. And I think as we go forward, you're going to have a nice evolution to this project.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. Yeah, we love working with you. You're a great mind, and I think you can help us, evaluate things as we go forward. And I do think after this next drill program that we're hoping to do this spring, that maybe the market will re-rate us because we just feel like at this point we're ridiculously underpriced for what we've got going.
Well, a couple catalysts is that we're getting a lot better interest for the price of gold. We talked about it earlier with gold prices. I watch the US dollar very closely because it has a way of impacting the price of gold and other commodities priced in the US dollar.
Yes.
And the US dollar has fallen off of a cliff, recently went through a death cross. And when they fall at that trajectory, it usually means that that's a long-term trend. Okay. The
Yes.
other side is then you look at gold and it's doing the opposite. The trajectory of its rise is also very aggressive, which is indicative of a strong market ahead for that, whatever you're looking at. And so I see some really good things in the technical analysis and in the fundamentals, what they're doing with the US breaking things with their interest rate hikes. The real estate market is in trouble. All the yield curves are inverted. So I think there's lots of arguments to believe the US dollar will go down, keep going down, and lots of arguments on the fundamental sense for the price of gold to go up. So then let's say that this trend continues. A lot of new investors are going to be out there looking for good stories, and you guys got a hell of a good one, and it's only a 10 million valuation.
Yeah, no, and it's pretty. The insiders and key shareholders own 100 million of the 135 million shares that are outstanding.
Wow.
So it's pretty tightly held, and I totally agree with you. My personal gut feeling is that once we get to $2,000 an ounce in gold again, which appears to be, we're certainly headed that way, that the junior market will start to come back alive. And so I think we're on the cusp of the junior miners starting to get some attention, which will be fantastic to see for everybody.
That's an interesting thing you said there, John, because when I remember the year 2000, and I had a pretty good reputation in the business as an analyst of what was going on with the market. And everybody would ask me, well, when's gold going to go? When's gold going to go? And what's going to be the price that gets everybody excited? And I remember everybody talking about $500 an ounce back then.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we're talking about $2,000 an ounce. I'll take it.
Yeah. And it's not like, gold at these levels is a phenomenal price, but we all feel like it could also be a lot higher. So it's a win-win.
Well, you never know. Maybe next week we'll see that 2,000.
Yes.
So, John, what you touched on a little bit, but let's wrap it up about what's upcoming. You're going to do some more geophysics. You're going to get back in there drilling. Did I get the highlights of the plans going forward?
Yeah, that's like as I said, primarily so that two prongs. We want to get out and follow up on the high grade and do some more drilling in the western slope zone. I mean, that's there's no low-hanging fruit in this business, but that's as close as it gets to low-hanging fruit. So we're excited about that. And then also the geophysics to do that. And then we have some other things in the works and that I can't quite talk about yet. But so, yeah, we have a lot of exciting things that we're working on.
Well, your next, what you can't talk about, hopefully you can talk about soon, and we'll get on here again, John.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And we enjoy working with you.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to have you guys on, and I'm going to wrap it up and we can have a little chat at the other end.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Allan.
Okay, so there you go, folks. I'm very excited about Athena. And, one key reason is Nevada. Second key reason is gold. But the most important reason is that they're hitting high-grade gold with the Truth Machine. And to put those all into context and then have have only a $10 million valuation, it's right up the, right, exactly the kind of thing my audience likes to look for, because I like to look for it. And why I like to look for it is I can often find them early in their evolution, and I like to keep following it as it evolves. And what I'm seeing so far gives me a lot of confidence that they're headed towards a much bigger story here. And so the catalysts going forward would be the geophysics, more drilling, some stuff John couldn't talk about, and then I think the gold, we cannot lose sight of gold getting much stronger and bringing new investors into the sector, and that's another key catalyst. And so I'm a big fan of Nevada. I now have another company, I think it makes about 6 or 7 in Nevada, that are sponsors of my websites and shows, so I can do a lot of commentary on it. And now we got one more to do the commentary on in Athena.
Yeah, fantastic. And we do trade in both on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol ATHA, and in the US on the OTC market, AHNR. So we're in both markets for your listeners that, you know.
And you just said where all my listeners come from, Canada and US. Well, yeah, exactly. I paid about 85%, on almost 50-50. Okay. My audience is from and then outside the world. So good. Thank you very much for that. Reminded me to ask you about the stock symbols. Sometimes I get so excited about the drill results, I forget about the stock symbols.
Yeah, no worries. So
all right, John.
Appreciate
it. So there you go, folks. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to do your homework, speak with your financial advisors. And I always stress that homework. I think it's really important for investors to understand the companies that they're investing in, why they're investing in them, and have a reasonable time frame for success. The reason is, I've been working in this business since 1993. Those are the people that make all the money in this business. So I encourage you to do the same thing. On that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.